Welcome back, everyone. We're on page 5 of Snow in the City. It's a perfect day to be working on a winter album because here where I am, it snowed a foot last night. If you're enjoying these projects, send me a comment. Let me know where you're coming from. Are you coming from a warm part of the world, a cold part of the world, and are you having fun? That's the big question. So let's get started with the measurements. I'm going to do this a little differently and show you the measurements up front, and all you have to do is label A, B, C, D. Now I am redoing this because I made a mistake on the A cut, but I will go through the motions with you. I just taped everything already. But our A flap is 7 5/8 by 7, and on the original cut list I had 8 3/8, I believe. So just if you printed that out a few days ago from now, I think it's the 16th, then just you'll know that there's that one change. It is 7 5/8 by 7. So 7 5/8 is 2 lines more than 7 1/2. So your B flap is 7 5/8 by 3 3/4. So you can use that same piece of paper. C is 4 1/2 by 4 3/4. D is 3 7/8, which is 2 lines before 4 by 4 3/4. And E is a pocket, and that is 8 5/8 by 4. So just write all those down, and we'll cut them. And then all you need to do is label A, B, C. And I will, let's start scoring these. So the A flap, you're going to score with the shorter side facing the top. And that is just a 1/2 inch. Okay. B is it's going to have a gusset. So either you can score it at 3 1/4 and 3, or score it your 1/2 inch and then scoot it over 1/4 inch. Let me show you that. That's what I did, like that, and then I just scoot it over. I've got a ruler up here. Scooch this over 1/4 inch and give another score line. And what that does is gives us a little bit of room, so when we fold this over, you know, there's extra room because we've got some stuff going on underneath here that makes it a little bulky, so needed that little 1/4 inch. Then we have C and D, and those are both going to get scored, let's see, with the 4 3/4 inch side facing the top. So these are little flaps that could go under that B flap, and that's why I needed that 1/4 inch gusset. So the 4 3/4 inch side is facing the top. And E is a pocket. So when we make a pocket, you just always start with the side that you want open because you're not going to score that side. So in this case, it's the long way because this is a horizontal pocket. So score a 1/2 inch, turn. Basically, your 2 short sides get a 1/2 inch and 1 score line across the bottom, the long side. Okay. And then we are going to tape everything. So since I already did this, I'll show you, and then you can hit pause and get your things all taped up. But we're taping it on the linen side is facing up, the bumpy side, and just right underneath that score line. For the A, for the B, same thing. Put your tape on the bottom and do not have it cross this score line, either one of the score lines. It will go underneath and you won't see the tape. So C and D also across the bottom, and E on the 3 sides. And after you get that taped up, you cut right here at right up to the intersection, turn out and go. Same thing, and that will make sure, the reason why you cut it after you have it taped is that the whole thing will have tape on it at this angle. So let's bring down our pocket page, page 5, and we'll start with the A flap. So the A flap is going across the bottom, and I am going to corner round mine. I think that's gonna look good. So I'm gonna just do that ahead of time because this is a big piece of paper. If I make a mistake, I don't wanna have to recut that. So I started with this, I have this We Are Memory Keepers, and I just started with the shortest, the smallest edge. And if I have it off center and make a mistake, I can just always move up to the next size. So let's get this flap down, peel across here, and let's look left and right and make sure that we're lined up. It's on straight. There's just a eeny weeny bit of space on either side. And I'm gonna bring it right to the edge using my thumbs to guide me. And slowly drop it down. There we go. And then you can press it down. So let's turn that over and bring out our B flap. You have that labeled. And what you do here, peel this off. We are just sticking down the part with the tape. We can use our thumbs here on this flat edge where we have the gusset to guide it down. So that will be the flat 1/4 inch will be straight up and down with the top edge of this paper. I am also going to corner around this. You can either do it after or before. Okay, so I'm lining it up left and right, and it is in line with the A flap. I've got my thumbs vertically on this gusset, and my fingers over here guiding it so it's lined up with the edges left and right, and then I just slowly press it down. And there it is. Okay, so now this is straight up and down with the edge of the paper. Okay, so now we have our C and D and our pocket. Now I'm gonna put the pocket down first because these are gonna go, the C and D go above the pocket. And I just wanna be able to make sure they don't hit the pocket. So for the pocket, and we're just taking off the bottom and folding these over. Okay, so it's easier to work with if I only have one sticky side and I'm not fighting with it. So you line it up left and right, and there's just a little bit of space, and then you bring it to the edge. Now, since right here we have our fold line, our score line there, and you just bring it right above it. You don't want it sitting on top of that score line. You just want a little bit of space so this flap can fold over the pocket. That might not be enough space. Let me see. It is. Phew, it's close. It's just really just a little bit of space. If you're not comfortable with having it that close, because sometimes this flap will have a hard time going over, you can always scoot it up and it'll look like you have a little black border, so that's fine. Okay, and now for our C and D. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna have my wider one on the bottom. That's what it's gonna look like, and this one on the top. So what I wanna do is first put down the smaller one, then the wider one. So you turn myself over so it's easier to work. And we will lay down the smaller pocket, which is D. First, I'm gonna put something to make sure this pocket lays down. And let me just test it here, because if I need to cut anything and make this shorter, now's the time to do it. Okay, so it looks like I have enough room. I want this D pocket to not hit this pocket over here. I mean this flap. I don't want this flap to hit that pocket, but I want it to go in the middle. You can either measure that or eyeball it. I'm pretty good at eyeballing, so. And I'm just having it go right just a little bit above that second score line. You don't want it in the middle of that gusset. That has to remain open. And there we go. Let's take C and put that, so I'm holding that, goes right to the edge of this pocket, and I'm putting it right under this D flap, and I'm looking left and right because I want to make sure I have the same amount of space on both sides. And right up to the fold line, not sitting on top of it. Give it a little bit of room. Really a tiny space. And this folds over. This folds over. I am happy. None of this crashes into this pocket. So that is what we want. We have success. Okay. And if you just can't get it lined up, you can always, if these are crashing into your pocket, just cut a little more off the bottom. But you should have enough room. I played around with that measurement for quite a while, so it should be enough room.